I will now leave the floor to our panelists and to our moderator this afternoon. So, je vais recommencer à parler en français. Excusez-moi. Donc, cet après-midi, on aura donc les témoignages d'étudiants qui sont issus de la Caraïbe anglophone et aussi d'Haïti, qui vont nous parler de leur expérience en mobilité donc en Martinique et en Guadeloupe, que ce soit quand ils sont partis pour étudier, ou quand ils sont partis pour avoir une expérience en tant qu'assistant de langue. Donc, je vais maintenant laisser la parole à notre modératrice Yodine Darius, qui est maintenant, donc, qui a été aussi une étudiante en mobilité entrante et qui d'ailleurs maintenant est doctorante à l'Université des Antilles, donc qui m'aidera cette conversation et je la laisserai aussi présenter les autres intervenants. Donc, je vous remercie encore toutes et tous pour votre présence cet après-midi avec nous. Nous allons maintenant démarrer le webinaire. Merci.
Okay, so thank you, Marie-Noël, for this brief introduction and for inviting me as a moderator for this session. I would like to bid a good day and a welcome to everyone to this roundtable on students who will be sharing their experiences on studying in Martinique and in Guadeloupe. My name is Udine Darius. I'm a former ELON project manager and your moderator for today's roundtable. As you know, I do not know if Marie-Noël mentioned it earlier on, but one of the objectives of the ELON project is to promote higher education and exchanges within the Caribbean. And so we have with us today some former and present students, as Marie-Noël may have mentioned, from different countries in the Caribbean, who were able to benefit from studying or working abroad in Martinique and in Guadeloupe. We have notably Russell Green, I believe he's from Jamaica. And he's a former language assistant and current teacher in his home country. Sam Yudovic, who is a little bit late, but who will be joining us in a while, who is from St. Lucia and who is also a former teacher and studying in Guadeloupe. We have also Michelle Silis, who I believe is a former teacher as well from St. Lucia, studying at the University of the Antilles in Martinique. Good day, Sam, and welcome. We have also Danley Lareche from Haiti, pursuing his master's at the University of the Antilles. Hello, Danley. Peggy Chavan, who is also from Haiti, studying at the University of the Antilles, who I would like to invite to put on his camera at this moment. Thank you in advance, Peggy. We also have Shoma Findley, a student from Jamaica who undertook an exchange in Martinique as part of the Political Science Fifth program. So I would like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out to participate in this discussion and also for our audience for tuning in. This discussion will take the format of a question and answer session throughout the entire roundtable. I will be asking each participant a few questions during the first 30 to 40 minutes, at the end of which I guess we will be taking in any questions from the public, and I will be opening the floor for discussions to allow the panelists to, I guess, react or comment on what has been said throughout the entire session from the beginning. So I prepared a little slideshow with some of the pictures that the panelists sent me. Should I share the screen, Manuel, or would you mind sharing it on my behalf? Okay, so I'm not hearing from Marie-Noël, so I guess I will share the screen and eventually. Okay, so I can share my screen, Marie-Noël. If you can, you or one of one of the volunteers could do that for me, please. I send in the presentation that I prepared to Mary.
Yes, we have the presentation. We're gonna try to do it as fast as we can.
I can't share it on my end.
Sorry, I couldn't hear what you said, Erdine. I had the translation in my ears.
I can share my end.
Madame, elle a dit qu'elle ne peut pas partager l'écran.
Ah, pas de problème, on la rajoute.
So either you share the PowerPoint presentation for me?
Normalement, c'est bon, Erdine.
Okay. So everybody's in my screen, right?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, great. Okay, so my first question goes out to Russell. Like I said, Russell is from Jamaica, and he's a former language assistant who took up his assistantship in Jamaica. So in Guadalupe, I'm sorry, in Guadalupe. So Russell, I would just like you to tell us a little bit about yourself, and perhaps you could let us know what motivated you to apply for the language assistant position in Guadalupe.
Okay, well, hello to everyone, to all the panelists and all those listening. I'm Russell Green and I'm from Jamaica, as Erdine said. I am from the capital of Jamaica, that's Kingston. And I guess my interest in foreign languages began from I was very young, but particularly as it relates to Caribbean cultures and just Creole languages and all of that. That interest deepened when I was studying French, Spanish, and linguistics at the University of the West Indies in Jamaica. Because I noticed when doing courses such as Creole linguistics or, literature, Caribbean literatures in particular, there were a lot of things, a lot of similarities that I saw between Jamaica and the other islands of the Caribbean, and not only the English-speaking ones. So as a result of that, that really is what led me to choose Guadeloupe as the particular place that I wanted to be a language assistant, because of course it's an island in the Caribbean and they have a very particular situation as it relates to just be culturally, and I don't want to say politically, but in terms of the fact that Guadeloupe is not necessarily like an independent island. I always thought, does that have an effect on the culture, on the way, the attitudes, the behaviors of the people? And I think, of course, that's one of the major reasons why I chose to go to Guadeloupe instead of mainland France.
Merci beaucoup, Russell, pour ce témoignage. Notre modératrice a quelques petits soucis de connexion, donc je reprends la main. Le temps qu'elle nous rejoigne à nouveau, et j'en profite pour te demander mais comment ça s'est passé quand tu es arrivé en Guadeloupe notamment, et quelles ont été un peu les missions qui t'ont été confiées.
Okay, so when I arrived in Guadeloupe, well, luckily, fortunately, I already had contacts in Guadeloupe. One of whom I had actually met at university because she was an exchange student there. So I think she also kind of nudged me along to choose Guadeloupe because she had said it's such a beautiful place. And, she had also appealed to my interest in, the Creole languages, and Guadeloupe has its own Creole. So I wanted to go and explore. So when I arrived, she was the one who picked me up, she and her companion. And I was surprised at how friendly everyone was, really. In terms of the landscape, it was a bit different. I would say in terms of development, it was a lot more developed than I thought it would be in terms of in relation to Jamaica. And yeah, I liked everything about the landscape. It was different, but the same in a way. And that's one thing I tend to find with the Caribbean. There are very slight differences among the islands, but we're all the same. As it relates to my duties as a language assistant, it was mainly to just to share about my culture, Jamaican culture in particular, and also to lead any sort of activities that required oral expression, because the whole point as a language assistant is to be able to allow students to have a real life contact, like a person who is speaking the language, live, so that they can, get some insights as it relates to how do you say this particular thing and pronunciation, and just to realize that language is real. It's not just something that you learn from a textbook. It's real and applicable to real life. So that's mainly what I did. And, in terms of culture, I was required to create presentations on Jamaica, the food, the culture, music, which was very popular among the students because to an extent, they even kept up with music better than I did, music from Jamaica. So that in a way showed me how much we as Caribbean people share among ourselves without even realizing it. Just the fact that they were so au fait with Jamaican music and Jamaican culture. So as it relates to my duties, that's mainly what I did.
D'accord, d'accord. Merci beaucoup, Russell. Et au niveau professionnel, dans quelle mesure tu trouves que, ou quelles sont les caractéristiques, ou comment est-ce que tu penses que cette expérience t'a aidé à te développer professionnellement?
Well, just following up on what I last said, professionally, I think it was, well, first I'll say that it was my first real long-term experience in the working world per se. So, of course, everything related to professionalism that you can think of was required, ensure that you showed up on time, that you maintained a professional rapport with your fellow teachers as well as the students. But in terms of, if we're talking about teaching English, I learned a lot about, I would say, just different means of presenting information in a way that would not have been so straightforward at first. So, for example, not just teaching grammar by reading from a book or pointing at words on the board, but also trying to integrate a lot of audiovisual aids so that students could make connections more easily, right? And also in terms of classroom management, which is a big deal. There were times where it was difficult to manage a class because maybe I had upwards of 30 students or students with particular differences and challenges that made it difficult for them to keep in one place. So, I tried to look at what the teachers did, the actual teachers at the establishments, the schools, and also, do a bit of research to adapt to these situations so that I would not have to spend 20 minutes trying to get students to settle down. I could just find an appropriate method that would work so that we could get to the main thing, which is a lesson. And in terms of opportunities professionally, I would say that if I were to go back to Guadeloupe now, because I have made so many contacts professionally in terms of the 11 or 12 teachers with whom I worked, I know it would not be very difficult to find a job as an English teacher because having demonstrated my passion for teaching and for cultures, uh, the teachers often ask, why don't you come back the next year? Aren't you going to stay or try to get an extension? Because they were quite pleased with my performance. So I can say for sure that if I need to go back to Guadeloupe to find a job, it should not be so much of a hassle.
D'accord, merci, merci pour cette réponse très complète sur ton expérience. Et étant donné que tu as eu beaucoup l'occasion de visiter, que tu t'es fait beaucoup d'amis, comme on le voit sur cette présentation avec tous tes amis, quel était pour toi le moment ou le souvenir qui est vraiment gravé, qui est vraiment marqué dans ta mémoire?
I'm not sure if there was one in particular. One thing that comes to mind right away is receiving gifts from my class, my students, and from the fellow teachers. Very modest gifts. They'd ensure that if there was any activity, that they'd try to include me in those activities. And seeing the look on the students' faces when they got a concept in English or when they realized that they had done something correctly, that was really rewarding because Lord knows it can be very tiresome when you really, really, really try to get something across and it doesn't work out. So when the student actually understands, he feels so happy. Apart from that, just the different opportunities I had to explore the islands of Guadeloupe. I had, as you said, I gained a lot of friendships from my experience there, and they would ensure that they were the best of hosts because I would get an invitation to have dinner at somebody's house, and then later on, oh, let's go and look at the eastern part of the island, and so we'd be all over the island together and just exploring. And I think those are some moments that I still treasure down to this day.
Ça a vraiment eu l'air d'être une très bonne expérience pour toi. En tout cas, la Guadeloupe, on est vraiment content de savoir comment ça s'est passé, que ça se soit aussi bien passé pour toi. En tout cas, et du coup, est-ce que ça veut dire que tu es prêt à revenir en Guadeloupe à n'importe quel moment? Dès qu'on t'invite, Russell, s'il te plaît, viens, tu es avec nous? Tu es disponible?
Well, it's possible. I'd have to ensure, of course, I look at situations in terms of my just current circumstances, but definitely I look forward to being back there, going back there.
Très bien, merci beaucoup, Russell, en tout cas, pour ce témoignage. Très complet avec de très belles photos, donc on est très, très contents. Merci beaucoup. On va demander à Andy, notre modératrice, si elle a bien pu revenir avec nous de poursuivre la suite des échanges.
Yes, thank you so much, Marie-Noël, for holding in for me.
Pas de problème.
For Russell for sharing his experience with us. So I guess I'm going to ask this next question to Sam. Also, Sam, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your educational and professional background, the degree that you're currently pursuing, and why you chose to study in Guadeloupe?
Hi, bonjour à tous et à toutes. Good day, everybody. As you may know by now, my name is Sam Ludovic, and I'm currently a student in the Langue étrangère appliquée, which is applied foreign languages, and it focuses on the languages of English and Spanish. The reason for my selection is due to my passion for languages and my passion for working with young people, for teaching. So I figured it is best to use my passion and turn that into a career. In terms of my professional experience, I have been teaching, an educator in St. Lucia for about 8 years now. I taught French, I taught Spanish, I taught health and family life, which is like life skills. And up until last year, well, for 1 year, I was the teacher assigned to the counselor, or like an assistant during the last year. Right now, I'm living my dream, which is something I wanted to do for years now. But with my financial circumstances, I wasn't able to. And when I started teaching as a means of getting the finance required to come to study, I ended up loving teaching. And so this dream of studying in the French Antilles had to be pushed back. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my camera was, my mic was on mute. So yes, this was going to be the next question I was going to ask you. If you could share with us some of the encountered before coming to Guadeloupe. Sorry.
Okay. Well, as previously mentioned, finances was an issue for me. It was a bit disappointing to turn down the acceptance letter in 2013 when I first applied. And having learned of the ALA program in the recent years, it sparked my interest again. I was like, this is the sign for me. This is the opportunity, like you have to take it. And I did. I'm really happy that ALA has provided me the opportunity to accomplish my dream, my professional dream, and to just to be here and to meet new people, to learn more on the Francophone culture here, and to just diversify my university experience. Yeah, because the final thought was staying at home and doing my studies online, and just being here is a plus because the full immersion is actually extremely beneficial to my entire experience.
Yeah, I know that you were one of the best French students, I believe, at the Mon. You were always dynamic and enthusiastic about the languages, and I'm very happy that you were able to seize the opportunity and you fulfilling your dream. I see that you've been well integrated. You've been performing for St. Lucia, St. Lucia music and spreading out there. Attending church services. What has been the most memorable experience for you thus far?
To be very honest, I've not had the very diverse experience as the other ALA students because they would have gone to Martinique at first since they needed to do the DELF B2 exam, and that is for those persons who are thinking of coming into university in the French Antilles. It is the minimum requirement for getting into a French university. And if you can do that at alias process in your own country. So because I had that for years now, in my case, I didn't have to go to Martinique. So I came straight to Guadeloupe and I was alone. And so I didn't go on the nice tours and the excursions that we planned in Martinique. I was just here trying to figure out my life. But the best experience for me thus far has been the religious and the spiritual experience. I went to church and being able to worship in another language and hearing everybody, praising God and being able to identify some of the songs that they were singing in French and reading and singing and understanding, it has been amazing. It has been really amazing. And it has fueled my passion to continue with the arts, which is what I love to do. And if you see on the screen, recently there was a youth movement called, it's the Korika youth movement in Guadeloupe. I recently joined, and they hosted a Creole activity, and that was one of the activities I did enjoy. And in terms of my contribution to that activity, I was well basically called to perform a Creole song, Chibi by Shane Ross, and I did that for self, for artistic expression, but mainly to represent my country and to just put St. Lucian talent on the map. And it was amazing. So these two experiences have been the highlights for me thus far.
It's very nice to know that you get the opportunity to express yourself and your culture and represent your country. Thank you for that, Sam. So without further ado, I think I will pass on to the next panelist, who is Michelle Silis. So Michelle, same question. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you end up studying at the University of the Antilles in Martinique?
Hi, good day, everyone. My name is Michelle Silis. I am from St. Lucia, currently enrolled at the University of the Antilles in Martinique. I am now pursuing a bachelor's degree in modern languages. Upon arrival here, I was one of the students in the first group to participate in the immersion program under ALO. This project was geared at assisting students in learning the language, also learning the culture of the country, that we had decided to study in. For me, it was a plus. It was a very positive experience with the challenges, of course, but I think that it was one of the things which allowed us to become better equipped to pursue our degree, to begin that journey. In terms of transitioning from the norms, what we're used to back home, and coming into an entirely different culture, people with different expectations. So it allowed us to understand how to communicate, how to relate with the people around us, as well as seeing the country, getting to experience some of the cultures, the traditions that, the people practice here. Also the simple things like the bus system. It's probably different from what most of us are used to back home. So these are all things which were important to figure out and understand, in order to be able to manage your time and, just create a structure for yourself in terms of organization. So I do believe that the immersion program, it did its job. We were able to speak with strangers. We had the opportunity to experience different things, take trips, because there was just a little bit more time as compared to just coming from home and diving right into the studies, into the degree. So it's something that I really appreciated and that I was grateful for. Seeing as when we did begin our first year, we knew how to behave in the classroom setting, with professors around, with the other students around, and we were better able to relate to them in that sense.
Okay, so can you emphasize a little bit on some of what you have gained in terms of experience and opportunity for growth? Because I know that you mentioned some of the things like, the bus system. I guess it taught you patience, when you undertake a mobility exchange or study abroad experience, there are a lot of things that you learn, that you're able to grow based on that experience. And I guess some people are also exposed to further opportunities that come their way. So was there any, what were you able to gain in terms of experiences and opportunities for growth since you've been here?
Since I've been here, I've had the opportunity to participate in a few exchanges, kind of like this one, some I've been able to speak a little bit about the program as well as, representing my country on a small scale. Also, I am a teaching assistant here in English right now. Being here has allowed me to network with, people from different settings. It allows you to be more open-minded, broaden your horizon, participate in things that you normally would not. It definitely, ignites the fire in you to just do more to maximize your opportunities. That has been very important for me because networking is very important. And also the way you represent yourself, seeing as we're from different countries, we're Anglophones, and the attitude or the beliefs of people into a new country may vary from what we're used to. It's an opportunity that I saw to kind of break the stereotypes that existed by representing myself, not only myself but my country, in a way that will shed a positive light. And I do believe that because of that, many opportunities have come my way. The right persons make the right recommendations. And, it's just the process of, it allows you to get to where you need to be. It allows for lots of personal and professional development.
Okay, that's great. I remember you as one of the most serious students, and the way that you kept yourself. Obviously, it has allowed you this opportunity to become a language assistant because it's not a given to everybody. I mean, there is a great demand for this, and very little positions are available. So you get the opportunity to share your culture, to share your language with the students. I don't know what level you're teaching. Which level is it?
College et lycée.
Okay, so secondary school and post-secondary school. So yeah, you get I guess that's a great opportunity for you to change also the perspective of people in terms of the stereotypes that they may have about a specific group of persons, to share your own culture and get greater appreciation. So congratulations on that.
Definitely, thank you.
I see you also have some photos of outings that you've been able to participate in, with the Elon Immersion program in the back, your hiking, the visiting of the gardens. So I guess that you've been well integrated and into the system, and you're getting along well. So
yes, it gets better with time.
It definitely does. So thank you, Michelle, for your presentation. I'm going to move on to the next panelist without further ado. So we'll be hearing from Danley Naresh right now, who is a student from Haiti undertaking his master's degree at the University of the Antilles. Danley, I know that you've been working on your English since you've arrived in Martinique. So I'm going to ask you the questions in English and you respond as you please in French if you like. Tell us a little bit about your academic background before coming to Martinique, and why you chose to study at the University of the Antilles.
Alors, je me présente, je suis Danley Naresh, je suis en deuxième année de master de droit privé, mention contrat et entreprise. Alors, ma licence, je l'ai fait en Haïti, à l'Université Notre-Dame d'Haïti. Mais j'ai décidé de poursuivre mes études en Martinique, déjà pour le rapprochement culturel, mais surtout pour le rapprochement géographique, parce que Martinique n'est pas trop loin d'Haïti. Donc, pour les vacances, c'est facile pour moi de rentrer voir ma famille, mes amis, tout ça. Mais en vrai, l'une des raisons les plus importantes pour lesquelles j'ai choisi la Martinique, c'est parce que j'avais beaucoup d'amis haïtiens qui étudiaient déjà ici. Et quand je suis arrivé, effectivement, j'ai rencontré une belle communauté haïtienne qui m'a vraiment soutenu, qui m'a aidé à m'intégrer. J'ai aussi rencontré les autres étudiants de là, les autres boursiers de là, qui étaient là avant moi parce que j'ai eu un peu de retard. Je suis arrivé en novembre et les cours avaient commencé en septembre. Donc, les autres étudiants de là m'ont aidé à m'intégrer et j'ai pu rencontrer beaucoup de personnes, de bonnes personnes. J'ai pu faire de très belles rencontres.
Okay, so that's awesome. So you, if I understood well, you studied, you did your bachelor's degree. Are you hearing me?
Oui, oui, je vous entends maintenant.
So you, if I understood well, you studied your bachelor's degree in Haiti, and afterwards you decided to study private law at the University of the Antilles, which is a bit an entire different jurisdiction. What are your plans thereafter, after your master's degree? How will this degree contribute to you achieving your goals career-wise?
Oui. Alors, j'ai choisi de faire une maîtrise en droit parce que j'ai toujours voulu exercer une profession libérale. Donc, j'ai choisi de faire le droit. Mais la maîtrise en contrat et entreprise, c'est parce qu'en Haïti, j'ai eu des expériences dans des cabinets d'avocats en tant que stagiaire, dans des cabinets d'affaires. Et j'ai aimé, c'est ce qui m'a appris à aimer le droit des affaires. Du coup, c'est l'une des raisons pour lesquelles j'ai choisi de faire une maîtrise en contrat et entreprise. Donc, de retour au pays, je pourrais aider si toutefois le législateur veut faire une réforme du droit, parce que le droit haïtien et le droit français, il y a beaucoup de similitudes entre le droit haïtien et le droit français. Donc, si toutefois le législateur voudrait faire une sorte de réforme, donc je pourrais y participer. Et avec un master, j'ai beaucoup d'ouverture professionnelle.
Okay, so that's great. So despite the fact that it's a different system, you're still able to contribute if you do go back home to practice, I guess. So what are some of the skills and the competence that you're able to develop since your study abroad, since you moved to Martinique? What have you gained from your experience thus far?
Alors, l'une des plus belles choses que cette expérience m'a apporté, c'est le fait de rencontrer d'autres personnes qui ne partagent pas la même culture que moi. J'ai rencontré des Africains, des Gabonais, des Maliens, des personnes qui viennent de Sainte-Lucie, de la Jamaïque. C'est ce choc, je pourrais dire, ce choc interculturel m'a beaucoup appris, personnellement et aussi académiquement. Donc, c'est l'une des raisons pour lesquelles que je ne regretterai jamais d'être venu étudier en Martinique.
Okay, so that's very interesting, because I know that one of the objectives of the university is to have that international openness. So I guess they're arriving at that point slowly but surely, because there are a vast majority of students from different countries that you're able to meet at the University of the Antilles, and you also being one of them. I see that you've been able to take part in outings with the SWAPs. The SWAPs is the University Service of Physical and Sporting Activities. You went kayaking. Is there any other activities that you're able to participate in with the SWAPs?
Ah, mais bien sûr, j'ai beaucoup aimé ces activités. Et la chance qu'on a à l'Université des Antilles, c'est qu'il y a, contrairement à certaines universités en Haïti, il y a une branche qui s'attache particulièrement au sport, c'est le SUAPS. Donc, il y a beaucoup d'activités sportives à faire, beaucoup de sorties, des sorties qui nous aident à mieux connaître la Martinique, à rencontrer de nouvelles personnes. Donc, ces sorties m'ont vraiment plu.
Okay, and I just wanted to add that it's usually free, right? The outings at the SWAP, so those students, any student can take advantage of these opportunities, these outings that the SWAPs organize. So I'll wrap it up with you. Yes, go on. Go on, you wanted to say something?
Oui. J'allais dire que oui, effectivement, ces sorties sont gratuites. Les activités sportives aussi sont gratuites. Du moment qu'on est inscrit à l'Université des Antilles, on peut participer à tous les programmes, toutes les sorties gratuitement.
Okay, so that's great. Thank you so much, Danny, for your contribution. We have two more participants, two more panelists who will be speaking to us. So we have Peggy Chaval, who is also a student from Haiti undertaking her bachelor's degree at the University of the Antilles. I know that Peggy has been well integrated in Martinique, in the French culture. I do not know if this you could describe to us a little bit.
Je fais une licence, pas
experience. Pardon?
Je suis Peggy Roberto Carlo Chavan, j'ai 20 ans et je suis en deuxième année de licence de droit, donc ici à l'Université des Antilles, et je suis aussi dans le programme Milan et cela fait 10 mois, plus de 10 mois maintenant que je suis ici en Martinique. Et c'est un plaisir de partager ma culture et c'est un plaisir aussi de recevoir tout ce que je reçois et de connaître, en fait, d'apprendre tout ce que j'ai appris jusqu'à présent sur la culture de beaucoup d'autres personnes. Et c'est ce partage-là, ce choc culturel qui m'a plu et qui m'a, en fait, c'est ce qui m'a poussé à venir ici.
Okay, in what ways were you able to share your culture? Can you let us know a little bit about that since you've arrived in Martinique? What opportunities that you had to share your culture with individuals who live in Martinique?
Alors, en fait, j'apprends le droit, mais je suis aussi un jeune chanteur. Et du coup, arrivé ici, j'ai pu me faire beaucoup de contacts et c'est ce qui me plaît ici. C'est ce qui me plaît. Il y a beaucoup d'ouverture, il y a beaucoup d'opportunités et j'ai pu vraiment me faire beaucoup de contacts. Et grâce à mon stage à RCI Martinique, j'ai pu rencontrer énormément d'artistes. J'ai pu avoir beaucoup de contacts. Et ici à Martinique, j'ai sorti mon premier clip, mon premier single, et j'ai pu partager ça, partager ma culture, partager du compas, parce que je chante du compas, je fais aussi du kizomba, un peu de zouk, en fait de la musique caribéenne, et c'est dans ça que j'ai été élevé, et c'est ce qui me plaît aussi. Donc du coup, c'est ça, j'ai pu partager ma culture, j'ai pu partager mon créole aussi, parce que la chanson que j'ai sortie, c'est un créole haïtien. Et il y a beaucoup de Martiniquais, il y a des Jamaïcains et les étudiants là aussi, ils ont partagé de leur côté. Donc, du coup, il y a énormément de personnes, ça m'a fait beaucoup d'ouverture et ils ont pu partager ça avec des membres de leur famille, avec leurs amis. Et donc, du coup, il y a beaucoup de personnes de beaucoup de pays qui ont pu voir mes vidéos et qui ont pu me donner leur feedback et me dire ce qu'ils en pensaient. Et franchement, ça m'a plu.
I see you've been exposed to many opportunities since you've arrived, apart from the academic aspects. Was there a cultural shock to you upon arrival? Did you experience any cultural shock upon arriving to Martinique? And this will be my last question to you, Peggy, before moving on to our final panelist.
Oui, en fait, c'est surtout ça. C'est surtout ça, et ça se voit même dans mon amélioration en anglais, parce que en venant ici, j'ai pu partager ma langue avec les étudiants d'ELA. Je crois que celui-ci, c'est presque le même créole que le créole haïtien, parce que je comprends parfaitement leur créole et on a pu partager nos langues. Et ils ont pu aussi m'aider à m'améliorer en anglais. Il y a Shema qui va passer tout à l'heure. Lui aussi, quand on était à Balade ensemble, donc il m'aidait à m'améliorer en anglais et j'ai pu apprendre énormément de choses. Et j'ai pas rencontré que les étudiants ILNA, j'ai rencontré d'autres étudiants Erasmus. Et il y a des Martiniquais, d'autres qui sont venus d'Espagne. Il y a vraiment énormément d'étudiants ici que j'ai pu rencontrer. J'ai pu me faire beaucoup de contacts et j'apprends ce que j'apprends le droit et ça me plaisait beaucoup et ça me plaît encore plus maintenant parce que j'ai bien envie de faire du droit international et dès maintenant, je commence à me faire des contacts. Dès maintenant, je commence en fait à rencontrer d'autres personnes qui ont les mêmes passions que moi. Je fais cet échange-là et c'est ça qui fait toute la beauté de l'échange du programme en fait.
D'accord, je vois en fait ça ressort en fait, it comes out, I'm sorry, in your voice, it comes out in your enthusiasm and your excitement about being here. Thank you so very much, Peggy, for your contribution. Peggy is also one of my students and he is one of the most motivated, most disciplined students that I've had thus far. So keep it up, Peggy. And finally, I would just like to exchange shortly with Shima. Shima, can you tell us a little bit about your experience in Martinique? I guess you could really briefly summarize. Let us know if you were well integrated and if there was any cultural shock for you in particular.
All right, thank you so very much. Firstly, my experience in Martinique was phenomenal. It was the best. I think I did the third year of my program in Martinique, so the third year of my bachelor's degree, which was in political science, and that was in the program that I'm a part of. It's called FIFA, which is the Filière Antilles Frontières, which is a partnership between the University of the West Indies, the University des Antilles in Martinique and Guadeloupe, and also Sciences Po Bordeaux. So the third year of my program was done of this particular, this 5-year program was done in Martinique, which was last year. And like I said, it was phenomenal, best experience ever. I was fortunate enough to be able to visit Martinique. I was able to go all over the country, visit all the different beaches, the different cultural places, and I had wonderful friends. I was able to meet so many different people from Guadalupe and Martinique and even St. Lucia. It was just this wonderful experience, wonderful cultural experience.
What was one of the most memorable moments for you in Martinique?
I couldn't really pinpoint any one specific memorable moment. I think it was not all good. It was not all roses, but for the most part, it was just excellent. And I think there was this very rich cultural exchange that I was able to benefit from. I think that being able to learn, for example, Guadeloupean and Martinican Creole might have been the most memorable aspect of my year in Martinique. But there's so many other things. I couldn't pinpoint any one specific thing.
Okay, so if ever given the opportunity, would you, I guess, come back to Martinique? Would you?
Definitely, I am already ready. Definitely. I think it was really a very enriching year for me as it relates to the courses that I studied. For example, the course that I studied was very focused on the Caribbean, which I found to be very enriching. So I'm ready. I'm always ready to return.
And I remember you telling me that being in Martinique has allowed you also to improve your French a whole lot. And I remember Shama doing a presentation for us, and he spoke excellent French. You could have heard it in your voice. So if that allowed you to improve on your language, I guess it was a wonderful experience. Apart from that, how have you been able to grow from this experience? What have you gained from it? This is my last question to you, Shima.
Well, yes, definitely. It really helped me to develop my competence in the French language. I really gained so much because I had a lot of professional experiences as well, because I briefly taught English at the Lycée de l'Union in Fort de France. So that for me was very interesting. And another highlight of my year in Martinique was that I was an intern at the Académie de Martinique. And that for me too was very enriching. So I got professional experience. I gained so much knowledge, not just in political science, but also this cultural awareness that I was able to develop that I didn't have before. Because I was able to discover not only the French Caribbean, but Dominica, St. Lucia, and all these other wonderful islands in the Lesser Antilles.
That's great. That's good. I see a lot of you were exposed to other opportunities apart from the academics. So I guess it's a great experience. We have just about 5 minutes remaining. So now I'll be taking about 1 or 2 questions from the audience, if there is any. this will be the time for you to ask the panelists any questions that you may have about the program that they participated in, about the experience in itself. So feel free to do so.
Yes, just on the methodology point of view, you can either ask your question in the chat or you can raise your hand using the button on Zoom.
Okay, so we have a question to Shama from Dimitri. He wants to know, what did you love more about Martinique?
Sorry, my mic was muted. If I look, the question is what I love most about Martinique.
Yeah.
The people. The people. I will have to say the people. I think Martinicans, at least the experience I had, they're very welcoming. They're very nice, and I think I was invited very often to have dinner, like Russell said as well, to have dinner at somebody's house, and I think the people in general they're very nice, and they're very knowledgeable of Jamaican culture. So that facilitated our experience.
Okay.
And the country is extremely beautiful as well.
Yes, definitely. Martinique is a very beautiful country. So we have another question from Makida. What level of proficiency in French would you need to have to apply for the program? So I guess I will allow Shama to respond, and perhaps either Sam or Michelle to respond as well, because it's two different programs. Shama.
For my program, you need to have a B2 level proficiency in French, because I think that's what is required to be able to study in higher education in France. But I think B1 you could get through, because we know that you develop your competency throughout the year. So B1, B2, thereabout should be good.
That's for the FIFCA program, the political science program. Michelle, would you like to answer also?
Sure. For the ALA program, you do need a B2 also, hence the reason for the immersion experience. It was so that we could get to the B2 level through having courses throughout the time period that we were here.
Okay. So I hope that answered your question. If you notice it's...
Might I add
Sam,
something?
you wanted to say something?
Yes. I think what is important that we need to highlight is that as much as you need a B2 level in the language, it is not a one-time thing where you only study, for example, if you don't have the level, you study right now, you finally achieve the level, you leave to study. There needs to be a constant concentration and determination in terms of the studies. So yes, you need a B2 level, but when you get into the country, you may get a shock, because one, there is accentuation and the pace at which the natives speak, that may pose a problem. So there needs to be constant practicing of the language and exposing yourself to the language even when you're in the country. So it's not just studying and get the B2 level and finish with it. There needs to be consistency.
Sure, definitely, and you definitely get to improve your language once you're there. So thank you all for your responses, for participating. I just have one last question. So one question for Russell, I guess he's the only one for the language assistant. What would you say to somebody who is interested in participating in applying for the language assistant, the language assistant program in Martinique Guadeloupe?
Well, I'd say go right ahead, especially if you're from the Caribbean. It won't be too similar and it won't be too different. So there's a great balance of everything. And if you're worried about how people will, in terms of how people will receive you, trust me, there's nothing to worry about. Once you present yourself, in a pleasant way, people will generally receive you and surprise you with how much warmth and just Caribbean love, they offer to you. So I'd definitely say go right ahead and explore.
Thank you so very much, Russell. So Shima, is there anything that you would like to say to a student who may be interested in an exchange program, or even, I guess, participating in FIFCA if eventually it gets back? That you would like to say to, what is it that you would like to say to a student who may be interested in participating in an exchange?
I think you should definitely go for it. I think what's very good about doing an international mobility is that there are many skills and competence that you'll develop. You become more independent. You learn how to better manage yourself, better manage your money, being able to better organize yourself. I think these are skills that are needed not only for your personal life, but your professional life as well. So these competences that you'll develop are essential. And I think, for example, the ELAN program, especially, so if you're going in a mobility in Martinique or Guadeloupe, I think you should definitely go ahead, because you'll also have the support that the ELAN program provides, not just financial, but the social, I don't know if you can call it that, but the social support that they give as well. Exactly, this administrative assistance. So if ever because the process can be complicated, but there is a team there willing and ready and able to assist you. So why not take advantage of it?
Definitely. Thank you so much, Shima. And this same question to, I guess, one student from Haiti and one student from St. Lucia can answer that. What would you say to a student who may be interested in pursuing their studies in Martinique or Guadeloupe? I guess Stanley or Peggy could respond.
Alors, ok, je laisse Peggy répondre.
Oui, en fait, je dirais qu'il devrait bien essayer parce qu'il y a énormément d'opportunités et en fait, je pense que c'est bien, c'est une belle expérience qu'ils ne vont surtout pas regretter parce qu'il y a beaucoup d'opportunités et c'est une expérience humaine, c'est une expérience qui va aider professionnellement, humainement parlant, personnellement, sur tous les plans de la vie en fait, parce qu'il y a beaucoup d'opportunités et ouais, c'est surtout ça. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Peggy. And finally, Sam or Michelle, the same question to you.
I'd like to say that it's a very interesting opportunity, especially for the marginalized, especially financially. It's a great opportunity to allow you to realize your dreams, set your objectives, and just allow that to be the center of whatever you do. Determination, perseverance, adaptability, they're all very essential elements of progressing and, getting to where you need to be. So it's definitely a good opportunity for persons wanting to pursue higher level education in the Caribbean region.
Thank you so very much, Michelle. Thank you to everyone for your contributions, for participating for this rich discussion that we had this evening. And I would like to thank also the audience for tuning in, for taking the time out to participate, and also to the ELAN team for putting all of this together, for allowing us to express our different point of views, our experience, our mobility experience in Martinique and Guadeloupe. So Marie-Noël, I think it's time for me to pass the floor to you for any concluding remarks that you may have.
Merci beaucoup, Erdine. Merci beaucoup à tous nos panélistes pour effectivement cette conversation très riche qui, je l'espère, était très fructueuse également pour l'ensemble de nos spectateurs. Donc, vraiment, merci à vous pour cette conversation. Et je suis bien sûr ravie de savoir que les expériences se passent quand même globalement bien en Martinique et en Guadeloupe. Et donc, je vous remercie d'avoir pu fournir ce témoignage à nos spectateurs qui pourraient se poser des questions, qui nous ont posé des questions. Et à nos spectateurs, je vous remercie aussi également chaleureusement pour votre présence cet après-midi avec nous. Voilà, ce n'est pas fini, comme vous le savez. Nous avons une seconde table ronde qui commencera dans un peu moins d'une heure. Cette fois-ci, on aura des représentants de l'Université des Antilles qui seront là pour présenter justement cette université qui accueille autant d'étudiants internationaux et de la Caraïbe en particulier, et auxquels ces représentants, vous pourrez poser également toutes vos questions. Donc voilà, je vous salue. J'ai vu dans les spectateurs quelques-uns de mes anciens étudiants, donc je suis ravie de vous voir aussi également avec nous cet après-midi. Donc je salue tout le monde et j'espère que vous pourrez tous revenir donc, dans un peu moins d'une heure, à 16h, heure de Martinique, pour la seconde table ronde de cet après-midi. Merci beaucoup et à très vite.